Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jackie, representing Microsoft, and I would like to welcome everyone to Microsoft Webinar Series. In this webinar series, we will invite a different guest speaker each time to talk about a different interesting topic. You will be updated on all our upcoming webinars by visiting events.microsoft.com. I repeat, that's events.microsoft.com. Today, we are very privileged because we have Willie, the managing consultant of Celgo Systems Limited, to talk to us about Chatbots. Actually, Chatbots is a virtual assistant with interactive conversation skills. As you know, it is a hot trend this day. So we look forward to learn about this from Willie. Now, before I hand over the time to Willie, some screen logistics to serve you as a guide for you. On the left-hand side of the screen, you will see a Q&A chat box. You can post any question you may have at any time, and we will be answering this question at the end of this presentation. On the right-hand side of the screen, you will see a form. Please do take some time to fill it out, this feedback form. Your feedback is very valuable to us. We will also have a special offer for all our webinars viewers today. If you fill out this form, you will automatically be entitled to claim this offer. For your information, this webcast will be recorded and we'll send back the link to you after this show. Okay, again, welcome everyone to join this webinar. Actually, Microsoft is a worldwide leader in software, services, and solutions that help people and businesses to realize their full potential. Based on our technologies, Celgo has built some business solutions for customers to work better and get more from their investments. Without further ado, let's welcome our guest speaker today, Willie Lee.
Thank you, Jackie, for inviting me to the webinar series. My name is Willie, and today we're here to talk about Chatbot. But before we talk about Chatbot, let's see who else are talking about Chatbot. On the screen, you will see two gentlemen. One is the Microsoft CEO, Satya, and the other one, of course, everybody should know, is the CEO of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg. Both Satya and Mark have spoken at their respective developer or partner conferences in this year, and they have put big bets on bot. So a lot of people would wonder why they would put such an emphasis on Chatbot. Well, let's learn more about it today. So before we deep dive into showing what is a chatbot, let's talk about what a chatbot can do. A chatbot can be a virtual assistant for interactive conversation, such that as your potential customers want to know more about your product, the chatbot can be the first person to greet them and show them what the product informations are. Also, a chatbot can be your additional advertising channels, such that you can advertise your product through this new channel. Of course, you can have the chatbot to be scripted to handle most of the frequent asked questions. So for example, if your customer wants to know your shop hours or your location, the chatbot can automatically reply that. Last but not least, the chatbot can help to gauge the interest of the customer by calculating prices or presenting early quotation to them, such that if a customer truly are interested in your service or product, they can continue on a conversation and you can have a follow-up through a real human. So let's learn more about a bot in this structure. First, and of course, there's your phone, and I'm talking about a smartphone. On top of the smartphone, I assume that you'll have one of the Messenger app installed. On the screen, you should see some popular Messenger apps icons. And of course, the chatbot can try to talk to you through one of them. The conversation can be about service, support, promotion, etc. Now, as a human talking to a bot, the bot has to have the processing power to respond. And that is actually hosted on Azure. So Azure has this artificial intelligence services in which that it can help the bot to behave smarter and also to be able to respond to an actual human. At the end, there is Office 365. The Office 365 module, such as CRM and SharePoint workflow, can help to filter out from the bot conversation on what needs to be followed up, such as a physical human being can contact the customer to provide the follow-up service. So let's talk about what are the features that can be made on a chatbot. For example, we can have a greeting. So first, when a real human interacts with the bot can, of course, give a greeting and explain what kind of services or products that you're trying to upsell. Then there could be branching. There could be multiple selections on the message such that a user can easily click one of the selections and go through the branch to get to the more detail of the product or service that you're trying to sell. There's also a reminder, so you can obviously schedule a reminder to remind your customer of a product launch or of an upcoming appointment. There's also integration with other cloud service, so the bot can be very intelligent in terms of knowing the particular customer's background, such as his or her loyalty program's points, or more of his or her information, so the bot can interact smartly with the customer. Analytics, of course, is very important too. So we will be also showing you how we can collect information from the conversation and perform some analytics. Last but not least, normal person talk in natural language. So the bot naturally would have to understand some sort of natural language in order to execute the commands. All right, so before we see the demo of the chatbot, let's talk about the benefit first. Obviously, there's no download. So as I mentioned, we are going to chat with the end customers through one of the messaging systems. So therefore, the customer actually don't have to download additional apps. Analytics are very important, and obviously, the more you know what your customer like and want to know more, the better you can serve them well. It also can reduce human work, because a lot of times customers could be asking repeated questions of menus or FAQ that humans would have to repeatedly answer, and the robot can do that much better. Last but not least, 24/7 is the availability of your chatbot. So no matter where the customer are, or no matter what time that they knock on your door, the chatbot can always help you to answer. All right, so we are about to see the live demo of chatbot. But before we show you the demo, let's show you how you can start off the chat. Now, because we have made a demonstration at our Facebook page, what you can do is this. Go to your Facebook, search for our company name, Celgo, C-E-L-G-O, and you should see a button that says Send Message. Click on the Send Message. Once you do that, you will be interacting with our bot instantaneously, so you can start saying hi. So we have waited for a long time for the demo. Now, let me pass the stage to my teammate Anton to show you what a chatbot is.
Thanks, Willie. Hi everyone, my name is Anton, and I'm going to show you a demo of the bot. So how do you find the bot, and what can you talk about? So first, you start off by going to your Facebook app or Messenger app on your phone. I'm going to use it for the demo. I'm going to use the app on a tablet, but you can also obviously do it on your phone. And then you search for the business that you want to find. Our company is named Celgo, so I'm searching for Celgo and just click on the business name here. For this demo, suppose this is a bot for a shopping mall. So I'm planning to go to a shopping mall and I want to figure out what can I do in that shopping mall. So I'm going to start off by saying hi. Now on this computer, my fake name is Peter Chen, so this is why the bot is going to greet me by the name, Hi Peter. So it's asking me what I want to do. Actually, I'm planning to go and have a dinner with my friends, so this is what I'm going to say. And the bot will answer immediately. I expect this should take no more than a couple of seconds. So it's offering me a few choices for the restaurants. I can scroll them in this way, and suppose I want to book this one. I want to just book a table. So the bot remembers that some time ago I already booked a table at another restaurant here, and it's asking me whether I'm going to be with two people just like the last time. So I'll say yes. So the bot can recognize the user, and it may, for example, remember what your favorite restaurant is after a few times, and things like how many people are usually going with you. Okay, so what time should we visit the restaurant? Let's say it's tomorrow in the evening. And at this point, with just 3 steps, I didn't have to download any apps or fill in any forms. I finished booking the table. That's done. Great. So pretty good so far. Let's see what else I can search for through the bot. Let's say I want to buy a pair of shoes. So I'm expecting that the bot will give me a list of a few shops that actually sell shoes in a shopping mall. All right, here they are with their pictures and a price range, and I can call or visit their website just from here. So this is all the Messenger app. Great, let's look for something else. Here it was offering me to search for some electronics. Let's see that. And here they are. Yeah, just a couple of shops with the electronics. Great. So let's say I'm trying to visit the shopping mall in the evening, and I want to see what time they're closing. So let's say I want to go to Reebok, and then I'm wondering whether they have already closed. So I can ask the bot something like, what time does Reebok close tonight? And obviously I can ask for things like, what's the phone number of that shop, what's the website of that shop, and here it is. It's showing me the card for the shop, and the opening hours are right here under the name. Great. So now I want to share my plans with my friends, and suppose they don't know how to get there, and I'm gonna ask the bot to help me figure out how to get to the shopping mall. So I'm just gonna ask how to get there. You can say, what's your address? Help me find your place, anything like this. And here it is. It's showing me the map, and I can click the directions button to open the Maps application on my phone. All right. And then finally, what it can do is recognize the emotions of the users. So suppose I went to the mall and I was really unhappy with the service, and I'm going to type some angry message like this. Here it goes. So the bot figured out that I'm sending an angry message, and it's asking me whether it can fix the problem. So I'm just gonna agree to call me back, and Great, so it remembers my phone number. Let's say I called, they asked me for my phone number a couple of weeks ago. So they still remember my phone number, and I don't have to enter it again, I just have to confirm. Great, so now I hope that somebody will call me back. And great, they gave me a coupon. So here's another happy customer. And that's all for my bot demo. Let me also show you the demo for the analytics that you can see. So actually you have seen that the bot records some information like the phone number. Actually it records much more, and I'm going to show you in a second. Alright, so this app is Office 365 Power BI, and we use it to view analytics about the bot. So we actually record all conversations and information about the users and a lot of other stuff. And here's what we can see with that. So first, on the left, you can see the pie chart of what the customers are talking about. For example, about half of the questions they ask about are about products. Then on the right, you can see which restaurants were booked most, and on the bottom, which shops were viewed most by the customers. So this can help you figure out what is in most demand. And that concludes my presentation, and I'm going to pass back to Willie. Thank you.
So thank you, Anton, for the great show. Now, as summary, let's talk about what are the possibilities of a chatbot. So chatbot can give you many functions, and let's just mention a few here. For example, it can be a scheduler, so you can remind your customers of a possible appointment, or you can provide some updates to your customer. Also, it can connect to your database catalog, so you can present various options for your customer to choose, and also based on the customer's input to select the relevant items to suggest. Also, it can be a locator because it runs on your mobile phone. Therefore, it can collect your location's information and suggest the closest branch to your customer. It can be a questionnaire, so you can go through a script dialog in which it will collect multiple information from your customers in order to present a proposal of service or fee for the customer to consider. Of course, it can also conduct commerce. So once the customer feels comfortable with the proposal, the customer can choose to finish up the purchase by connecting to his or her preferred payment method, such that you can complete the commerce. So thank you everyone for your time. If you want to connect with us, you can see it on the screen. Again, our Facebook handler is Selgo. It's very easy to find us. Thank you. As we want to thank you for joining the webinar, we want to give you a special offer. So we will be able to help your company to build your own chatbot. In the chatbot, you can help to introduce your company, give away the address, and possibly some other contact information. Please sign up here, and so we can contact you to follow up. Thank you.
Thank you, Willie, for the presentation earlier. We will now move on to Q&A section. So far, we have seen a few questions coming in. Please do keep them coming. If you look to the left-hand side of your screen, you will see a Q&A box. You can type your question in the chat box on the left, and we will answer your questions live. Just to let you know also, the webcast will be recorded and we'll send you back the link after the show. Your feedback is very important to us. So if you look to the right-hand side of this windows, you will find the feedback and the overclaim form. We appreciate your time in filling out this feedback form. You will be also entitled to claim this special offer once you fill out the form. Okay, let's move on to the Q&A section. All right, let's see. Let's see. Okay, wow, many questions here. Yes. Okay. Oh. So the first question is how many concurrent users that the bot can to handle? Willie, do you want to take this question?
Sure thing. So how many concurrent users can the bot handle simultaneously? In fact, the bot has no limitation in terms of how many concurrent users can handle at the same time. What we will have to do is in terms of planning the back-end server infrastructure, in terms of how large of a traffic will the bot aiming to handle. In general, we can say that from our experience, 10 requests per second is a very high traffic scenario for the bot. So with 10 inquiries per second scenario, that implies to be a single instance of the Azure instance running to be able to handle that. So if that can give you a scale of how much traffic it can handle, I hope you can consider that. But of course, it can also be scaled up such that we can have multiple instances of the Azure backend running concurrently.
Okay, thanks, Willie. The next question is, can the bot handle Chinese or Cantonese?
Right now, you can see the bot demonstration was done purely in English. What we have built on the side is that the bot can also handle other foreign languages. What, in fact, is doing behind the scene is that it's using a cloud service to translate the user inquiry into a language that the bot can understand. So far, for example, we have tried to simulate the situation in which a person is typing in Chinese, and the Chinese language will be translated into English for the bot to respond, and such that for the response, it will be translated back to Chinese for the bot to have the actual answer to show up on the user's interface.
Okay, thanks, Willie. Oh, let me see. Okay. So the next question is, where will the Facebook chatbot that you are offering to be hosted?
It is actually hosted on the Microsoft Cloud. We call it the Azure Cloud. It is using what we call the Microsoft bot framework, in which that it is an executable on the Azure instance. So what that would imply is that most likely for an actual implementation, you would require to have a subscription of the Microsoft Cloud called Azure. Now, the volume of how much you have to subscribe really depends on the traffic that you would expect on the cloud. So therefore, it can start small, and obviously, it can scale up accordingly.
Okay. Well, I find a very interesting question from our audience. That is, is a chatbot only work for? Do you think is it just for retail industry?
The question is it only for retail industry? And my answer is no. It actually can be applicable to many different media. So obviously today in our demonstration, we showcase an example of how a shopping mall can take advantage of chatbot. But obviously, it can be applicable in other situations. Now, we have done a different example. For example, for an insurance company to have a chatbot to help screen the customer such that they can, the chatbot itself can ask basic questions to know more about the customers and do an early quotation for the customer in terms of the price of the possible insurance. That can help the insurance companies to screen the real interested customer versus the not so interested customer, such that, as we mentioned before, we can certainly have the bot to follow up. But of course, in reality, we can also have a real human to follow up after the bot has done the screening.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, before we go into the next question, please be sure to fill out the feedback form on the right if you haven't done so, because it is very, very valuable to us. Okay, let me see. We got next question is, are there any live use cases that that's for the bot?
Certainly, there are live cases for the bot. Most of the live cases, given we are pretty advanced in terms of the technology life cycles of having bots actually implemented in reality. You should certainly try some of the U.S. companies that we have seen before. So, for example, CNN would be a good example for you to try the bot experience. Now, CNN obviously is a media company, and they can help you to search for the news that are most relevant to you. But nonetheless, you can see how the bot can function in that capacity, such that I hope it can help you brainstorm on what a chatbot can do in your particular business.
Okay. Will the bot work on WhatsApp or WeChat?
The chatbot in our example is working with Facebook Messenger, but that's not the limitation in terms of which messaging platform you can interact with. Obviously, there are other messaging platforms that we can consider. So Facebook is just one example of it. And the cool thing about using the Microsoft Bot framework is that once we have developed the logic for how to interact with the customer, connecting to a new platform, for example, connecting to Skype versus Facebook Messenger versus Telegram, will be just a few click buttons away. So therefore, it allows you to connect to as most customer base as possible.
Okay, thanks, Willie. Let me see. As we know, the chatbot is hosted at Microsoft Cloud. Is the server hosted in Hong Kong? Will there be any delay of chatbot response, or is there any business continuity plan for that?
Right. That's a fair question. In general, the hosting location of Azure is something that you can help decide. Now, obviously, we can decide to have the data center to be hosted in Hong Kong, just for an example. But obviously, our audience can be worldwide, so you can be hosted in relativity to your hosted country. Now, in terms of the server availability, Microsoft Cloud has a pretty good historic record in terms of being able to support large traffic and also various time moments and stay available. But of course, there are continuity planning that we can build into the chatbot such that the logic hosted in multiple nodes around the world, and such that if one node indeed has a failure, the conversation can be transferred to another node. But from my so far experience, it appears to be most customers are okay with a single hosting experience simply because of the server availability of the Microsoft Azure cloud is indeed pretty good.
Okay. Let me see. Oh, the next question is how to train the board. Usually, how long does it take?
All right. The question is about how to train the board. I think the person who is asking must know something about bots in order to ask this question. Yes, indeed, we do have to train the bot. I think the advantage of us having the experience of developing bot is that we do have a scheme for us to use the shortest time possible to train up the bot to handle the particular situation. But of course, it depends on the actual business and it depends on the actual script that we would implement into the bot. But in general, we do have a methodology to help train up the bot in the shortest time such that the bot can be able to understand the most common natural language that you may possibly encounter. Now, just to give you a glimpse, in the back end, we are using the Microsoft Natural Language Processing Service, which is called LUIS. In general, LUIS has a good understanding of very common natural language varieties. But of course, for your particular business, we would also believe that some training it will be necessary for the bot to be able to recognize some of the keywords and some of the parameters that are only suitable to your particular industry.
Okay. Really, actually, can the board learn something new, like wording or terms?
Okay. The bot actually can understand a new term based on a few factors. Okay. So first of all, we do have to let the bot understand how to basically digest the inquiry. So the bot has natural language processing to be able to pick out, for example, verb versus noun versus adjective, etc. So you can break down a common sentence into pieces. Now, for us to identify certain pieces to be more relevant to the questions, we will have to pre-program into the AI logic, so to speak. And for the AI logic to recognize how to follow up in terms of hearing such an inquiry is something that we do have to dictate to the bot itself. So, for example, if we hear an inquiry about food, we have to go to the database and find out the restaurant that will be serving the kind of food that has been inquired with. And that's something that we would have to pre-program into the bot itself. Now, of course, the bot has the ability to apply to various situations. However, for your particular business, for your particular situation, we would have to define what are the correct follow-up actions of the inquiry.
Okay, thank you. Let me see our description. Okay. Just a moment. Yes, I put it. Okay. Our audience want to know whether the Facebook is the only platform for the chatbots.
The answer is no. Facebook is a medium for the chatbot to communicate with the end user, but Facebook certainly is not the only platform that we can build upon. In fact, by using the Microsoft bot framework, we are allowed to have multiple channels to talk to multiple platforms. So therefore, Facebook is a good example, especially for Hong Kong, But obviously for other countries, other regions, we can certainly cater for your particular most popular messaging platform to have the bot perform upon.
Okay, let me see. Okay, well, here's a very interesting question. Okay, actually, can the board understand the Facebook stickers?
Currently, the bots do not have a particular protocol to understand the sticker, unfortunately. Now, of course, we can certainly predefine a number of stickers in which the bot has the, what we call the follow-up consequence actions predefined, such that if it receives a particular sticker, it knows what sort of actions that you should follow up with. But in general, the framework as of current does not cover the sticker level. It covers the language, the natural language that the user may possibly type into the conversation, but unfortunately it doesn't cover the sticker yet.
Okay. Thanks, Willie. Then I have another question related to the demo. So, how the board picks which restaurant to suggest you visit by location?
The bot currently, from the demonstration, pick the restaurant based on the food that you have chosen. Now, of course, we can certainly do by your particular location, so it picks the closest restaurant to you possible, or by your history, such that you pick the restaurant that you have visited before and show great interest to the restaurant cuisine. So it varies based upon how we pre-program the bot. But in general, location, past history, or current favorites are all possibilities for the bot to suggest based upon.
Okay. Really, could you please talk more about the differences between the chatbot and the Google Now?
Okay. The question was asking how is a chatbot different from Google Now and iPhone, for example, Siri? I would have to say that, in fact, in actuality, they may not be all that different. So they can make recommendations and they can speak to you as naturally as possible. However, the use scenarios could be slightly different. Now, obviously, iPhone, Siri, and Google Now are built within your mobile system. So you may ask it to check the weather for you. You may ask it to check what is the score of your favorite sport teams, etc. But for our particular case, we are aiming to serve businesses for a particular interest. Like, for example, in our showcase, it will be a shopping mall helping the tenants to attract more businesses. So in our setup, the chatbot is more geared for serving a particular business interest, whereas Siri or Google Now are more geared to serve for general personal interests that may not, in end result, be a transactional or be a commerce. So I think that's more of the difference. But in terms of the ability to understand what you're speaking of, the chatbot can be just as good, if not better, than those products that you have mentioned in your questions.
Okay. Then the next question. Oh, we got another good question on about the database of the chatbot. So, what will the chatbot reply if it didn't prepare for some question before?
That's a fair question. So, if it is being thrown up on a question that the bot isn't anticipating, most likely the bot can express some sort of apology of not being able to understand the questions
and see whether or not there's anything relevant to the questions that the bot can help answer. Now, obviously, the bot not understanding the question is not a limitation of the technology, but more likely to be a limitation of what sort of business scope that you're aiming for. So, for example, if it is a shopping mall, it is in the context of helping customer to locate the right tenant and to conduct the right commerce. So, if you're asking a bot for other questions such as your personal health or your personal interest, the bot may not be able to service you. But in that natural setup, I think most of the users do understand that if they are talking to a bot which is serving a particular shopping center, the kind of questions about health or personal interest will not be answered. So just to get to the point of your question, I think the bot can gracefully, as a response, to say, sorry, this is the question that I cannot help you with, but certainly there are these options that I can help you with. But from a business standpoint, I think it does make sense for the business to somewhat lay off those questions and redirect the focus of the customer towards the kind of inquiries that can produce a win-win situation.
Okay. Thanks, Willie. Then another question. Our audience want to know if there are a lot of message from the customer, a lot of message or question from the customer about their product. That means I think that means there will be a heavy workload for the bot. So do you have any product offer for such environment?
Currently, we do have such an offer for you. Therefore, what we can do is to connect the bot to your backend inventory database. Such that a bot can be able to be smart enough to recognize what the customer is looking for and to facilitate the customer to locate to the right product. That certainly is a parameter or a backbone that we have already built in our bot system, so we can facilitate that to happen in the shortest time possible. But also, like what was asked before, if it is a question somewhat on the borderline of the scope that we can cover for, we can certainly redirect the directions, the attention of the customer toward your product rather than going off tangent.
Okay. Okay, this one. Let's see. Next question is, what is the the accuracy of the board to understand the sentence?
So regarding the accuracy for a bot to understand the natural language, it is indeed pretty high. You'll be surprised on how much of the natural language processor be able to pick up in terms of what we can possibly type. Now, I think the key focus may not be how much can the bot understand, but how much can the bot understand and then react upon. There are a lot of options in which that we may not possibly have the bot react upon, even though the bot fully understood the question. So that depends on the particular business situations. And of course, the more we can cover regarding the type of questions that we can receive, the better off you will be in terms of a business to consolidate the opportunities and to be able to keep track of the customers in line with your business offering.
Okay, let's go to the next question. Does the subscription include the training tools? The one Microsoft Natural Language Processing that you just mentioned.
The subscription of Azure would indeed include the natural language processor that I've mentioned before. So it is indeed a lump sum subscription. Obviously, there are two models that we can offer. Currently, we can offer as a customer-hosted model in which that the customer itself will subscribe directly to the Microsoft service, and we will help build the bot up on it. Or the customer can certainly choose a bit more painless plan in which that Celgo, our company, can help do the hosting, and all the customer have to do is to provide us the information such that we can have the bot hosted within our service. Both models are today available, and it obviously depends on your particular preference and needs.
Okay. Okay. The next question is, can the board link up with our Microsoft Katana?
The bot itself can be linked up to many other backbone services. So Katana can certainly be one of the options. Your existing mobile phone does indeed have a lot of backbone services that I'm not going to mention today, but certainly, like anything like a mapping, like a conversation, like a scheduling, like your social platform, they all can be cross-linked together. So how much variety that we can deliver based on the bot experience will be entirely up to your imagination of what type of service that we can provide. But obviously, from a technical standpoint, certainly the back end can be interconnected with other services.
Okay. Okay. How about human agents? Can we link up the chatbot to the human agent to answer if the chatbot is not able to answer?
Certainly, that's one of the options that we can design. In fact, that's actually one of the most popular exit clause that our customer would demand us to build in, such that if it is something that bot cannot handle, at least allow the human agent to follow up, on the case. So certainly that's entirely possible. The human agent request can be sent through, obviously, what we mentioned about will be Office 365, the CRM system, or the Microsoft SharePoint workflow system. But of course, there are, limitless possibility of what sort of integration that we can build, such that we can certainly link up the bot inquiry to your existing customer inquiry system. And for a person to at least absorb the question itself and also the customer identity and be able to follow up on that and hopefully be able to provide the right experience for the customer.
Okay. We have one more question related to the photographic. Can the board read the files such as JPEG file format?
Okay, so the question is about whether or not the bot can process anything beyond, a message. So, for example, a JPEG format. And the answer is yes. In fact, Microsoft has built a similar bot on Skype that intercept with a picture and recognize or try to recognize what is the object within the picture. So that sort of cloud service can be integrated into our bot solution for us to handle. Now, immediately we can come up with ideas such as it can possibly be a receipt, it can possibly be some sort of proof of purchase, or it can certainly be some sort of identification feature for the bot to be able to recognize who the customer is. And that's entirely possible.
Okay. Our audience want to know more about the installation process. So how to install the chatbot?
Okay, so I hope that you are thinking ahead enough to recognize the benefit of chatbot and thinking how to install it yourself. In reality, you do have to have, so using our today's example as a scenario, so you would have to have a Facebook account for the company. You would have to register with Facebook in terms of this is the message bot that you have built. Now the message bot in the backbone is actually using the Microsoft Bot framework, which is hosted on Azure. So you would have to have an account with it also. Now for the account, within the account, you would have to set up the bot on how to react to some of the inquiries. And last but not least, quite possibly you will want the bot to connect to your backend system, such that you can provide customer information, inventory, or quite possibly, just the address, opening shop hours of your particular business.
So, how about the reporting? Can customer get their customization on report?
The report dashboard that we have shown on the demonstration is just an example of what sort of reporting we can build. Now, certainly we can build sophisticated report based upon your particular business needs. Just to give you a heads up in terms of what sort of information that we can get regarding from the Facebook message media. Facebook allows us to get the first name, last name, the account profile picture, etc. But there are certainly some information that we cannot get without the consent of the user itself. So therefore be aware of the level of intimacy that you may be able to extract from the conversation. But nonetheless, obviously, with just the conversation itself, you can certainly be able to understand more about the customer preference and what they're looking for.
Okay. I really think a lot on this. We have interesting question. When can we start the chatbot for my own Facebook page?
As we have offered from today's session, we are willing to go to the distance to help your company to build the first chatbot to provide the basic information. And of course, how you want to take it further, it will be a discussion between you and also us as the implementation partner. But of course, in terms of when, we can certainly help you to set up as soon as possible.
Then we have the next question. How to ensure the same identity will be used if I talk to the chatbot through Facebook Messenger or Skype? Is it because I may not using the same email address on both channels?
So it depends on whether or not we would want the users to log in general. Now, Facebook Messenger example is an example in which we are not requiring the user to particularly log in. So they are representing themselves using their Facebook identity. Now, if you would want your chatbot to be across multiple media, most likely we would want the user to be able to surrender some sort of personal identification information over the conversation so we can help uniquely identify who the user is. So for example, if we can ask the customer for the first name, last name, and possibly the first 4 digits of ID number, then we can uniquely identify them regardless of which media that they are on.
Okay, looks like we have covered most of the questions today. We want to thank all our viewers for tuning in today. Be sure to fill out the feedback form on the right if you haven't done so. Also, you can be updated on our upcoming webinars by visiting events.microsoft.com. I repeat, events.microsoft.com. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.
Okay, and thank you for everyone for joining our session. And be sure to try out our demonstration on our Facebook Messenger at our account called Celgo, CELGO. You can certainly experience how the bot behaves and certainly sign up for us to follow up, and we can certainly talk further in terms of how you want to build your bot business. Thank you so much.